Good morning. Welcome back to Stitching Deb. I have a hashtag 20 sewing questions. Originally, I guess, came from Sewing in Michigan. I saw it through Lost My Thread, who saw it through Erin Sews. So, and I'm familiar with all three of them. I'm not going to wear glasses while I do it because of the glare, but I have to wear my glasses to read the questions. So number one, how do you feel about using a new pattern? I love new patterns, absolutely love them. I have tried and trues, which I love using, but there's nothing better than the thrill of a new pattern. All right, number two, do you remake or mend? I definitely mend, and when you say remake, I will remake an item from scratch if the first item didn't go well and I really want it. Now, will I take apart an item and fiddle with it and remake it? Probably not. I will probably start from scratch, go back to the pattern, go back to measurements, go back to the toile, and figure out how to remake the item the way I need it to be. I do have a mending basket. It does sit for a while, but I love hand stitching with a needle, and I love mending and making things better. Okay, there's that one. Do you make toiles or mock-ups? I do now. So I will be doing my sewing story soon. The 5-year gap where I wasn't sewing. I used to not make mock-ups or toiles. Now though, I make them all the time, and it has changed, completely changed the way I sew. And I'm definitely on the bandwagon for doing a mock-up or a toile before I touch the fabric that I really want to make. All right. How do you feel about pre-washing your fabric? I am definitely a pre-washer. Not all of my fabric. It depends on the yardage. If I buy a yard or more of a fabric, even cotton, quilting cottons, I will definitely wash my fabric first. I do that because I never know what I'm going to use the fabric for. Even with quilting cottons, you know, they may end up making a blouse or being part of, you know, a skirt or what have you. I never want to have an item made, especially for somebody else, that shrinks on washing because I didn't do my due diligence and wash it first. So definitely a pre-washer. Let's see. Do you finish your seams and how? I do. I'm old school though. I use pinking shears almost 100% of the time to cut my fabric. I'm learning new seam finishes. That's a part of what I'm doing this year. So flat felled, French seams. I do have a foot for my sewing machine that acts like a serger without the cutting. I'm practicing with that to finish seams. The small zigzag to finish seams. So I definitely finish my seams. In the past, it was always just pinking shears. And then knits, of course, don't unravel or, you know, leave the little threads. So there was never any need to worry about knit seams, but I do live by that the inside of the garment needs to look as nice as the outside of the garment. So finishing seams and making things look pretty on the inside is a priority for me. Okay, let's see. What is your favorite sewing activity? This one didn't take long to try and figure out. I love the assembly. after everything's cut out, marked, ready to go, it's the sitting down at the sewing machine and beginning the sewing. So the actual activity of construction is my absolute favorite part of sewing. And then the next one was, what is your least favorite activity? There really isn't one. I love the entire process of sewing. I do. I love learning. I read. I practice. You know, everything about sewing thrills me. I will say recently though, because I've gotten more into the PDF pattern sewing, I don't have a really large table to put together the PDF patterns. So right now, putting that stuff together is my least favorite activity, but it's only because I'm confined to such a small space. So it's a challenge to try and get PDF patterns put together and cut out. So right now, PDF pattern assembly. All right. Let's see. Stash fabric or new fabric? Always new fabric. I adore fabric. I used to shop to just fill my stash. Yes, I would shop not having a plan for fabric. I would shop sales and I would stock up on things that I thought were pretty. I would buy or try to buy enough yardage thinking, well, this is probably going to be a bottom, or this is probably going to be a top, or this is probably just going to be for a project. But yeah, new fabric, I'm all there. I have a very, very large stash, thank God. And now with Joann's being closed and having to order fabric online, and yeah, so now recently I'm just using all stash fabric. I haven't purchased fabric in quite a while, but yeah, new fabric is amazing. Okay, let's see. Are pockets a must? Yeah, pretty much. Even on knits, there are ways to put pockets into knits that don't ruin the knit garment. I'm practicing some of those techniques, not on garments I'm making, but just on, you know, putting pockets into two pieces of fabric that would be a side seam to a garment if it's a knit garment. So yes, I absolutely love pockets, and if they're not there, I've never added pockets to something that didn't have pockets other than patch pockets. So yeah, I pick patterns according to what they've already got and how they're designed and go with it that way. But I much rather have pockets in a pattern. Okay, knits or wovens? For me, it's wovens. I'm just definitely a woven girl. I love knits. I love wearing knits, but I'm just not really good at sewing knits. If it's my techniques or my sewing machine, I just struggle with knits. They get caught. They get stuck. They don't stay together well when I'm trying to sew with them. Now, I have made two Ellie and Mac curved hem tanks in the last 2 months, both knit, and I really enjoyed the process. First of all, I took my time, no rushing whatsoever. I used a walking foot. I tried a technique with a different type of zigzag than I had been used to trying. So it went really well. I enjoyed the process with both of those tank tops. So I'm working on improving my knit sewing. Up until now, though, it's always been wovens. All right. Favorite fasteners or no fasteners? I love zippers and I love snaps. So I would say zippers and snaps. No fasteners, you know, only if the garment or the item calls for no fasteners. I've added fasteners, though, in places where they weren't called for and I think I need them. So Yeah, I'm zippers and snaps. Sewing for self or others. That's 50-50. I do sew for myself a lot, and I definitely sew for others a lot. Clothing for others, maybe not so much. Items that I give as gifts for others, a lot. Yes. Now, I'm working on sewing for my granddaughter, who's now 11. When she was little, I sewed for her all the time. When my girls were growing up, I sewed for them all the time, and even into their early teen high school years, I sewed for my kids. My daughter, my youngest daughter right now, is very interested in getting sewn garments from me. So I've been working with her. We took full body measurements. We've talked about fabrics, and yeah, she's got a very particular eclectic style. So I have to be very careful with which patterns I'm thinking of doing, but definitely going to be sewing a lot of garments for her. So definitely 50-50 on myself and others. YouTube or Instagram? Well, both. YouTube being brand new to me, I'm all about, yes, making sure I am doing these YouTube videos, but yeah, so we'll say 50-50, both on that one. Okay. Dress or separates? Definitely separates. I used to wear a lot of dresses, but yeah. So for church, I'll wear a blouse or a top with a skirt. I do have some dresses. I haven't sewn a dress for myself in a while, though. But the last dress I did sew for myself was a sundress, not something I would wear to church. Yeah, just too much. Yeah, just not a dress I would wear to church. So, yeah, separates. That's where I find my most joy. Okay. How do you get rid of or pass on me makes? Well, if I know somebody I think it will fit, I will definitely offer to pass it to them. I can't really do that with my children, just very different sizes and very different tastes. Otherwise, I have no problem putting it in a bag for donation. I've never really thought about the fact that I heard somebody say that places won't take me maids in donation centers. I don't know. I've never paid attention to that. So I'm hoping, like, I like to give to women's shelters, the church, things like that, where I'm pretty confident they're going to use what is donated. So I don't I'm not a Goodwill donator or Salvation Army donator. But yeah, I'm more to organizations and things of that nature. But yeah, I have no problem donating. All right, let's see. Quick sew or involved sew? 50-50. I like an involved sew. I do. But I also like a palette cleanser with a nice quick sew in between. Like I can do 2 involved sews back to back and then feel like I need a breather. So then I'll do, what I call the palette cleanser and do a quick sew, a little fabric wallet or, I don't know, a mug rug, just something simple, and maybe more than one, till I move into, again, a complicated sew. All right. Social or solitary? Very solitary. I've never sewn in a social situation. Like I've never taken my machine and gone somewhere to sew. Not that I wouldn't. I watched recently Christine sews a lot, and Sequin Girly Sam. They all went on a 6-day sewing retreat. Oh my gosh, that looked amazing. I would love to do that. I would absolutely love to do that. So I'm not opposed to social sewing, but yeah, I've just always been solitary other than with my mom. I do teach sewing. However, that's not the same. That's not what I mean when I'm talking social or solitary. All right, so right now solitary, but I'm interested in social. Do you have a dedicated space? Yes, I do. The last few years, I've had a dedicated space, so I love that. I haven't always. When I was you know, sewing for my kids, and we lived in small homes or what have you. There was never, I mean, we have 3 kids, so I never had an opportunity to have like my sewing room. None of that happened until my kids started leaving the home and I became an empty nester with my husband. So I'm very lucky to have a dedicated space, right? Labels or no, I love labels. Definitely labels. I like to put a label in something I sew for someone else, specifically so they know the front from the back easily. Pair of shorts, pair of pants, a top, what have you. People don't always know, so I definitely put a label in for the front back thing. And I like having a label. So I don't have any stitching deb labels, but that's something I'm interested in getting. But yeah, definitely a label girl. My mom always was too. Percent of me made versus ready to wear. Right now, my closet is like 70-30, with 70% being ready to wear, 30% me made. But again, I haven't been sewing for, you know, quite a while. So working on improving that and changing that. So maybe next year it'll be 70-30 the other way. Okay, well, you guys, thanks for stopping in. This was a quickie. I enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.